In the vibrant mix of rock and pop that defined the 1980s, Quarterflash emerged as one of the most distinctive and polished acts of the era. With unforgettable hits like Harden My Heart and Find Another Fool, the band blended saxophone-driven melodies with emotionally powerful vocals from lead singer Rindy Ross, creating a sound that was both smooth and defiant. But behind the polished harmonies and Billboard success is a name that carries its own story, one that came from a description not meant as a compliment, but one that the band proudly reclaimed. The name Quarterflash originated from an Australian slang phrase, quarter flash, 3 parts foolish. The expression was often used to describe someone trying to be slick or stylish, but ultimately coming off as naive or misguided. In essence, it meant a little showy, a lot of silly. When Rindy and her husband, guitarist Marv Ross, first came across the phrase, they were immediately drawn to it, not for its put-down, but for its strange charm and honesty. Before they were known as Quarterflash, the Rosses led a band in Portland, Oregon called Seafood Mama, which had gained regional success in the late 1970s. However, as their music evolved and the band expanded, they realized they needed a new identity to match their ambitions. The phrase quarter flash, 3 parts foolish stuck in their minds, and they decided to shorten it to Quarterflash, a name that hinted at both their artistry and their self-awareness. Choosing that name was both humble and bold. On one hand, it acknowledged the unpredictability of the music industry and the fine line between brilliance and failure. On the other, it embraced the band's willingness to take creative risks. It was self-deprecating but defiant, a statement that they knew how the game worked and they were going to play it their own way. When the band released their self-titled debut album in 1981 under Geffen Records, the name Quarterflash became synonymous with slick production, heartfelt lyrics, and genre-blending finesse. Harden My Heart became a massive hit, reaching #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and dominating radio airplay. The band's unique fusion of rock, pop, and jazz elements, especially the inclusion of Rindy's saxophone solos, made them stand out in an era crowded with synths and power chords. But it was their name that set the tone for their identity. While other bands went for names that evoked grandeur or mystery, Quarterflash chose something grounded, ironic, and memorable. It suggested a band that didn't take themselves too seriously, even while crafting songs with emotional depth and technical excellence. Over time, the name has come to symbolize the spirit of Quarterflash as a band that knew the risks of the spotlight but stepped into it anyway. It's a reminder that great music doesn't have to come with ego, that sometimes a little flash and a touch of foolishness is exactly the right mix to create something lasting. Today, Quarterflash remains a cherished part of the 80s musical landscape. Their name, once an obscure idiom, now evokes memories of a unique band that turned an old expression into a signature of style and sound. A little flash, a little foolishness, and a whole lot of heart.